Welcome to lunchtime on Joy News. This is the Midday Brief. My name is Jennifer Jane Asante. In the headlines, a fire outbreak this morning gutted some shops at Sotwom in Accra. Goods running into thousands of Ghana cedis were destroyed in the fire. Global Credit Bureau, Dun and Bradstreet, has started operations in Ghana, and Alan Tremanting loses the bid for the WTO job. We have this and much more coming up after the break. Fire has gutted about 6 shops at Antiaku Junction at Sotwom here in Accra. Fire started in the early hours of today, Friday, according to eyewitnesses, spread to other shops. Shops affected included a vulcanizer shop, hairdressing salon, tailoring shop, a mechanics workshop, and lubricants point of sale. Those affected speculated that the fire may have started from faulty power cables or an unattended pressing iron. One of the affected shop owners, Kobe, spoke to Joy News and said goods lost in his shop could amount to 3,500 Ghana cedis.
Organizing machine. Now ties one side, so this is baby. I am to 7 flash. And I contain one, says so. My hairdresser and number big grass. And you contain one.
The fire was not completely out since there were lubricants and other kinds of oils in the shop that were affected. Some adjoining shops were, however, able to retrieve some of their goods. The United Cadre Front, UDF, a group affiliated to the ruling National Democratic Congress NDC, will hold its National Delegates Congress in Kumasi from Saturday, April 13 to Sunday, April 14. The Congress, on the theme towards a sustainable and economically empowering cadre front for Victory 2016 and beyond, is expected to be addressed by former President Jerry John Rawlings. In a statement signed by Shmuel Jmab Abam, Press Secretary of UDF and copied to the Ghana News Agency, said the time has come for Ghana to unite all its human resource potential to fight poverty, disease and ignorance. It said the current global economic crisis and price hikes made it imperative for Ghanaians to rise above petty politics and show invigorated patriotism. We use this occasion to add our voice by calling on all striking workers to rise to a committed sacrifice and dedication to the country. The statement said it is clear that indeed the workers of Ghana deserve better treatment, and it has been adequately communicated through the strike, and anything beyond it will overstretch the patience of our democracy. Now, the youth wing of the National Democratic Congress in Salaga say they will vehemently oppose any move by power brokers in the district to impose a district chief executive on them.
Addressing a press conference in Tamale, Secretary of the group, Baba Idrisu, says the group would want President Mahama to do a thorough assessment of anyone he intends to appoint as a district chief executive for the area. The Salaga NDC Youth Wing also want President Mahama to stick to the 5 shortlisted candidates put forward to him by the District Coordinating Committee of Salaga after consultation with leaders of the area.
It is still purported that the President still intends to act against this advice. Reliable information gathered indicate that the Presidency and some power brokers within the party are trying so hard to impose a district chief executive for the black people of East Gonja district, Salaga for that matter. We shan't accept this, and I stress, we are not going to accept this. We are, if the President or the committee involved in appointing or selecting a district chief executive for Salaga, we are going to resist any temptation whatsoever.
Correspondent Mohammed Hashmin filed this report from Tamale.
Now, 9-year-old pupil of the Wa Bishop Primary School at Mangu in the Wa municipality of the Upper West region met her untimely death this afternoon when she went with colleagues looking for mangoes and fell into a dugout pit. Nadia Ahmed, who was rescued by a local diver, died before her rescue and has since been buried. Rafiq Salam filed this report from Wa.
According to an eyewitness, Yao Siddiqui, who has his dry season guarding around the area, he was at his guarding when the children came around a mango tree which is located at the middle of dugouts that have been constructed for dry season gardening. After being rescued, Nadia Ahmed was taken to her house, which is a few meters away from the school, and her mother, upon seeing her, just couldn't hold her tears. Nadia has since been buried under strict Islamic tradition. Rafiq Salam filed this report from Wa.
That was a sad piece. Now, the Council for Technical and Vocational Education and Training, COTVET, intends to hit a disbursement target of $23 million for skills development by the end of the year. COTVET also plans to increase its current $15 million funding capacity to $20 million by June this year to train and build the capacities of vocational and technical institutions.
718 of 2006 set up the Council for Technical and Vocational Education and Training, COTVET, to coordinate and oversee all aspects of technical and vocational education and training in the country. The Council has since its establishment and through a skills development fund assisted micro and small-scale industries, trade associations in beauty and cosmetics, livestock, textiles, among others, with the needed funds to develop. The fund started supporting about 6 institutions with a grant value of about 1.6 million cedis, but is now assisting close to 100 units.
When we close the call, we expect applicants to put in a request, put in a proposal. When we take delivery of the proposal, we do an evaluation of the proposal. Once we have the report from the SDF committee, we put in place our financial and procurement processes to make it easier for grantees to access the funding, going through a contractual arrangement. After that, we have an M&E system in place. They go to the ground, do an assessment of the capacity of the grantees. They look at the staff strength, they look at the equipment, they look at their work plan, they look at their procurement plan, and then ensure that on daily basis, activities are implemented according to the work plan.
For COTVET, the quality of project proposals presented for support remains a challenge.
Sometimes they don't understand the key elements of the project, so they tend to put in a request for things that do not meet the requirements of the project. So quality is one of them. And of course, sometimes making a very good financial proposal, trying to link the proposal, that is the technical proposal, to the financial proposal is also one of the challenges that we face. Yes, currently we have drawn up a procurement and financial management plan, going through what we call the hand-holding. trying to help them shape their proposal to suit the key elements of the project.
COTVET currently has a resource envelope of $60 million from development partners, but plans to increase funds to equip a lot more institutions.
We believe in capacity building. We believe that human capacity is the bedrock of development. We want to train more people. We want to have more demand-driven training. We expect to hit 20 million Ghana cedis by June. And at the end of it all, we want to be hitting about $23 million by the end of this year.
Beneficiaries of COTVET's grants applaud the Council's initiatives. The Ghana Rice Interprofessional Body Group is one of such.
For us, this input that they have given us is going to work tremendously to grow the rice industry. We believe that the rice industry has the potential to create wealth. It has the potential to create jobs, a lot of jobs. It has the potential to ensure that we are secured in food, at least rice.
COTVET moving ahead is to address more of the demands of vocational and technical institutions through a thorough needs assessment program.
Meanwhile, over 40 small, medium and large vocational and technical units have been given a total grant of 15 million cedis from the COTVET Skills Development Fund. The grant is to facilitate their training and make them more productive and competitive.
Council for Technical and Vocational Education and Training, COTVET's grant under the second call of the Skills Development Funds, saw about 428 SMEs, science, technology, educational and research institutions applying, with a grant value of 182.5 million cedis. Though 139 of the applicants passed, 56 received approval to source the 50 million cedis fund based on the innovation and productivity of their project proposals. For COTVET, the ability of grantees to maximize the support given them will help in sustaining the XDF projects.
After this signing, it is just the beginning of the work, because this is where the implementation is going to start. And that is where the sustainability of this program is actually going to impact upon. Because the results that we are going to get from whatever you are going to use the money that you are getting from this, from us, from government, is what is actually going to see how best government will continue to support this program, and how we can get other donor partners to continue to support us, and how far we can actually continue to grow our businesses and then improve our economy.
Chief Director at the Ministry of Education, Enoch Kobna, deputizing for the minister, emphasized government's commitment to strengthen the productive capacities of vocational and technical units through the fund.
Apart from supporting the development of innovative technology for the growth of agriculture, the fund will also award small grants of up to 110,000 Ghana cedis to micro and small-scale industries and trade associations in the beauty and cosmetics, livestock, aquaculture, textiles, and consumer electronics sectors. Let me urge the project support unit of COTVET to put in place a robust and efficient monitoring and evaluation system and framework to ensure that activities of those who have received grants today and those who receive grants subsequently are closely monitored for optimum productivity and results.
Grantees were appreciative of the grant and pledged to use it to access training and technology to increase productivity. Meanwhile, vocational and technical groups can submit their grant proposals for the third call of the SDF within a period of 2 months, beginning April 15.
Now, the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority, GCAA, has assured that the recurrent shortage of aviation fuel for domestic airline operators is not likely to occur again. Recurring shortage recently forced the airlines to increase airfares to the various regional airports after complaining they could no longer absorb the cost. Now, according to the Director General of the GCAA, Air Commodore Kwame Mamfe, retired. Apart from the medium-term measures to curb the shortage, new storage facilities are being constructed at the Kotoka International Airport to permanently curb the situation. Air Commodore Mamfe indicated that the bottleneck his outfit is dealing with now has to do with the storage facilities, but was quick to add that storage facilities are now being built. If you go to the airport now, you have 3 companies who are putting up storage tanks. Once they are completed, I presume that we will have a minimum of 30 days storage at any given time at the Kotoka International Airport, he added. We had 2.5 days of aviation fuel at any given time, and now we are going to the point where we would have at least 30 days. The BDCs brought in enough fuel, and as at now I can comfortably say we have about 1.5 months of aviation fuel in the country. The Ghana Climate Change Adaptation Network, Ghana CAN, wants government to set aside a budget to help effectively tackle the issues of climate change. According to the network, for Ghana to become a climate change resilient country, there is indeed the need for government to readily set aside an emergency fund every year to address the challenges of food shortages that normally come with the phenomenon. We'll bring you the rest of that story later, but it's time for us to take a short break right now. The doctors are still on strike, and the police and military hospitals are having to take a lot of the pressure from the strike by doctors and pharmacists, largely because the cost of care there is relatively cheap. There are, however, those who don't mind paying a bit more, especially considering the peculiar circumstances, to get care from the more expensive health facilities. To owners of these facilities, the strike must mean good business.
Most of the private clinics we visited were unwilling to speak on camera. But it was clear patients since Monday have been trooping to private health facilities such as this one at Odoko for medical attention. Facilities here do not quite measure up to the first-class private clinics, but are fairly within the reach of patients who would otherwise attend the government hospitals. Mariansa is typical of many patients who would have sought care from a government facility.
So, and I'm get a health insurance, and so my buy my work at a craft. Yeah, best I buy say on Shane doctors now. I dear young, as I saw your mom, on your mom, son ever ya. Yeah, Obio in health insurance, we got government hospital now, and do bet me ako price now for Macra. Private Nayana no boy, and say a slab and say, on your baby from my.
Hospital Administrator Bafo Opoku admits they are seeing a lot more patients now.
Of course, there has been, increase, in the OPD cases especially, and also in ward cases, and in the emergencies as well. We are on the ground and we have put in, all the responses, and we have, enough medication, in store and all other, medical items. Our accident and emergency desk is, as usual, more than busy, obviously, and that I can say that we are confidently attending to the situation.
He added, even though business is good, pressure and congestion had built up since Monday. Some of the nurses confirmed this and shared their experiences.
The hospital has been hectic. Our schedules have been hectic. Patients come in and they put so much pressure on us, but it is our job, so we are really coping.
The situation was, however, different at the Kaneshi Polyclinic, which was unusually quiet. The OPD was virtually empty except for these few patients. The administrator, Francisca Kumaho, tells Joy News the doctors there are saying to patients, except that most people are unaware.
Don't have much problem so far as the strike is concerned. Even with the gospel, I think we've supplied the pharmacy, has supplied the various departments with their needed drugs or emergency medicines. For now, we'll say attendance has dropped. It has really dropped. Kanishi, as usual, by this time you see a lot of people out there. But you realize that the OPD is so quiet. They are just tripling in 111. So attendance has dropped, actually. And I think it's normal. Once they are hearing on radio that there's strike, I don't know, they are scared to come. Maybe they think they will not see the doctor. So why should we come?
The authorities are, however, calling on government to save the situation so all doctors can return to work.
Well, if you're looking for an update on the strike, then this piece is for you. You see, the government will henceforth determine market premium and will not make it a subject of negotiation. This is according to a white paper on the guidelines for market premiums on the single spine pay policy. The document states that government acknowledges that market premium shall be determined for critical but scarce skills and jobs through the conduct of comparative salary surveys. Thus, the government endorses the recommendation that it shall not be determined through negotiations.
The white paper signed by the President John Dramani Mahama on April 9, 2013 said market premium would be paid to critical skills in short supply within the economy. It said market premium would not be based on qualification, job description, job title, grade or level, but strictly on the scarcity of skills. Quote, market premium shall not be based on service classifications of occupational groups or jobs classified as essential services as specified under Section 175 of the Labour Regulations 2007 LI 1833, it said. A section on transitional arrangements in the white paper said, with issuance of the guidelines, all prior arrangements on market premium or memorandum of understanding signed to the effect would be discontinued. Additionally, any interim market premium would be discontinued as soon as market premium was specified for a group. It said market premium should not signify the importance or superiority of a job. The document defined market premium as an absolute amount paid only to employees with critical skills in short supply, adding that a premium would not be calculated as a percentage of a worker's basic salary. This position of the government seeks to end the controversial issue of market premium determination as a factor of basic salary, which was started as an interim measure for some workers when they were migrated onto the single spine salary structure. The white paper stated that the government would review market premium periodically with the timelines dependent on research findings. It said the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission would be responsible for determining market premium in consultation with the Finance Ministry as well as the Ministry of Employment and Labour Relations. In the determining of the market premium, it said the FWSC should undertake research and identify critical but scarce skills or jobs in the public sector. The white paper said cognizance was to be taken by government agencies of budgetary allocations in the determination of market premium. It also said the degree of scarcity of a skill or job in relation to the government's priority for that skill or job for a reference period and the ability of the government to pay should also be considered in determining it. It said, quote, based on the government's priorities, the list of scarce skills and jobs shall be published in the Gazette. Other issues in the white paper are the objectives of market premium under the SSSS, which is to, quote, enable the public service to compete favorably with the private sector for critical skills and to enhance performance and productivity in the public service. The document also said that social security shall not be paid on market premiums. The white paper also noted that the government appreciated the valued cooperation and collaboration of its social partners and indicated that it would support intensive public information, education and communication campaign on the market premium by the FWSC and other social partners, including the Ministry of Information and Media Relations and the leadership of organized labor and associations.
Now, one of the most difficult things people who contract HIV/AIDS have to deal with is the stigma from society. Now, this is when your immediate relatives will decide not to share the same plates and cutlery with you, or avoid using the bathroom immediately after you. Health experts, however, say most people behave this way out of ignorance about how the disease is contracted. The Planned Parenthood Association of Ghana, in a bid to deal with the misconceptions, is continuing to reach out to as many as possible with its campaign against stigmatization.
It will never be obvious who amongst the persons seated behind the table at this PPAG outreach event is suffering from HIV or AIDS, except for people who know Joyce Nate because of her public appearances to campaign about the disease. It was never a pleasant experience at the time, but Jijo, as she is popularly known, likes talking about the stigma she suffered, just so society would change its attitude.
The things people go through can even kill them. If I had died out of shock, is it the HIV that killed me or my fellow human being? My mother, apart from the bread she was selling, she had a small table, she was selling tea every evening. Normally when I visit and I'm hungry, she gives me tea and bread. But stigma, she's afraid to lose her customers. For me to come and sit down beside her, using the same cup she's been serving with people. Instead, she was pouring the tea in. And I said, Mama, why? He said, I should take the tea away. For that one alone, I felt so bad. You can imagine what I felt. It's not easy to be stigmatized.
She contracted the disease from her fellow choir member in a church. A 47-year-old man, she says, deliberately passed it on to her. HIV is described as a silent killer because many victims, out of fear they will be ostracized, suffer in silence until they die. As an ambassador, Chijo says she is working hard to change attitudes, as she is doing right now at the University of Ghana campus.
Somebody will tell you, what if I put my hand in my mouth and then there is saliva and then I put it in the food? People have so many excuses to give. You don't get HIV through saliva. And also, HIV is not in the urine. That is why you can share the same toilet facility with somebody with HIV. Even if somebody deliberately puts their HIV blood in your food, when you eat it, it goes and comes out because you don't get HIV by eating. HIV is not in the sweat. That is why you can shake hands or hug somebody with HIV. You won't get it.
The stigma, meanwhile, discourages people from finding out about their status.
There is an advert on TV which says, be bold. And in fact, I'm not bold, so I can't do it. Because it might spoil my day. Although I'm not positive, but I don't know what the outcome will be, so I don't want to even know.
And this challenge PPAG is combating by encouraging people to know their status at such fora.
I just feel like I should come and test because I've not known my status for all that long, so I found it very necessary for me to find my status this time around. It was negative.
By God's grace, I've not had sex before, so I was sure that I was going to test negative. I tested again and I was still negative, and I was glad.
The expert explains, once you know your status, there are healthy lifestyles you can lead to ensure you live a normal life. Jijo is now happily married to another HIV sufferer and has 2 children who are not HIV positive. She says she looks this good because she keeps a healthy lifestyle by ensuring she always takes her medication.
When was the last time you had your HIV status checked? If it's been more than 6 months, my advice is to check it again. If you've never checked it, there's a first time for everything. Unfortunately for former Minister of Trade, Industry and Presidential Special Initiatives Alan Trementing, it wasn't his first time winning the bid at the World Trade Organization. He lost out on his quest to become the next World Trade Organization Director General. This was after he failed to sail through the first round of the selection process for the top job at the World Trade Organization. According to the Reuters news agency, the council has shortlisted candidates from Brazil, Roberto Azevedo, Teho Bak of South Korea, Herminimo Blanco from Mexico, Mari Pangestu of Indonesia, and Tim Grosser of New Zealand. The Reuters news agency quotes a diplomatic source saying that representatives of the candidates were summoned to hear the results of the first round at a closed-door meeting in the WTO's Geneva headquarters on Thursday. The organization is expected to officially announce its results later Friday. The field of candidates to lead the World Trade Organization shrank to 5 and narrowed the race down to 2 regions, triggering a potential scramble for Africa's support after the first of 3 rounds of competition. Representatives of the candidates were summoned to hear the results of the first round at a closed-door meeting in the WTO's Geneva headquarters. And Ghanaians have been encouraged to devote and volunteer their time, skills and money to the service of humanity. This advice was given at the launch of the maiden edition of the Christian Awards Night and Gospel All-Stars Explosion, CANAX.
The Christian Awards Trust has launched the maiden edition of the Christian Awards Night and Gospel All-Stars Explosion, CANGAX, with the theme Developing the Uncreative Mind to Solve Human Helplessness and the Vulnerable. The CEO of Christian Awards Trust, Edward Emisangofe, says the awards is a platform to get more Ghanaians to volunteer, since that is a hallmark of a society that achieves success and win against poverty.
The art of volunteerism is the hallmark of every society that has achieved success in the fight against poverty and national development. We must devote and volunteer our time, self-will, intellect, skills, visionary knowledge, and money to the service of humanity. The freedom we have achieved through politics can only be fully realized when the underprivileged, the hopeless in the society can have food on their table and do not suffer from hunger.
CANGAX is an award that will honor and celebrate the works and efforts of all religious bodies, individuals, institutions and organizations who in diverse ways have made an impact on the lives of the vulnerable and society in general. The awards has 17 categories, including CANGAX Lifetime Achievement in Ministry Award, which will award long-serving ministers of the gospel, and special CANGAX Recognition Awards for 5 dedicated individuals. Finance Director for Christian Awards Trust, Reverend Nathan Marfo-Jesse, explained further.
We formed 3 committees. The first committee is the Editors Committee. The Editors Committee are people coming from Vassat, GTV, Daily Guide. We've selected them. Okay. They will then fish out and say, Mr. A, B, C deserve these awards. Then it goes to the public to determine. So we are asking them to give us 3 people for each award. It goes to the public, and the public have 30% voting right to determine who should be the person to win that award. The editors have 40% right.
The award ceremony will be held in November.
The second batch of 5 deputy ministerial nominees has gone before the Appointments Committee of Parliament. The 5 nominees were vetted for positions in 5 ministries, including Transport, Finance, Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, Local Government and Rural Development, and the Ministry of Environment, Science, Technology and Innovations. We're making attempts to reach my colleague who is at the vetting to find out what's happening there. Once we get a hold of him, we will bring him to you. Now moving on to other stories. I think we should take a quick break before we move on to another story. We'll be back soon. Welcome back. It's time for a little wellness, and so let's go straight to that. Known in local parlance as apropro, foot rot is one of the common diseases that affect mostly men. The infection is caused by fungus which grows well in dark and moist places, such as inside the shoe, locker rooms and showers. In today's edition of Wellness and Health, we take a look at the causes of foot rot and how to prevent and treat it.
We walk, run, stand and exercise with the foot. It is such an active part of our bodies that if the necessary attention and care it deserves is not given to it, chances are some problems and infections such as athlete's foot, foot rot and others may occur to prevent the foot from performing its vital functions. Foot rot, popularly known as apropos in local parlance, is a common infection which may occur anywhere on the foot, the sole, toe webs and the back of the foot. It is often characterized by cracking.
It's an infection caused by a funny organism, it's tinea, T-I-N-E-A. There are so many types of tinea species, but generally, that organism also can cause, sometimes between your groin, in between your legs, you have infection, and it's not too dissimilar from the sort of organism which will cause ringworm. All these belong to a group of infections we call fungal infections. They are like yeast. And if you know how yeast works, then you understand how this happens.
The fungi responsible for athlete's foot thrive very well in dark and moist places, especially inside shoes, locker rooms and showers.
Characteristic thing is that your feet is always in shoes or somewhere moist. So the organism gets some skin, and skin too is rich in small food. Then it starts growing, and then it smells. It's a distressing condition, but it's a very common condition. The good news is that it's easily treatable, in fact, extremely easily treatable. But people sometimes don't present for treatment.
Practicing good hygiene, including taking good care of the foot, experts say, is important.
When you have your bath, make sure they are cleaned well. Sometimes you're so much in a hurry, you finish bathing, you haven't finished cleaning, you wear the socks, wear the shoes on your way. And then, of course, if there's water, moisture, that's all it needs. But I think foot hygiene should start from a very early age. Not just foot rot, all foot problems. Removing your nails, ensuring that the feet are kept clean. You do realize that when you wear shoes which are very tight fitting, or if your shoes are not correct, you can't think. It's important to realize that the foot, like any other part of the body, deserves the same attention as all the vulnerable parts.
It sure pays to give our feet a fresh breath of life at all times.
All right, so we took a look at foot rot, and your feet might want you to take a look at them. Now, in International Brief today, Bashir makes his first visit to South Sudan, and Mali refugees face appalling camp conditions. In showbiz, creative arts members have been honored, and he's been called the grandpapa of hip life, but he's a brand new father, and as expected, he has been talking up a storm about his new daughter. We will bring you her name as soon as we find out. That's all we have for you in this bulletin of Midday Brief. Before we go though, let's take a quick look at our headlines. There was a fire outbreak this morning that gutted some shops at Soweto in Accra. Goods running into thousands of Ghana cities have been totally destroyed. And Alan Tremanting has lost the bid for the WTO job. Such a shame, but that's all we have for you in this hour. Coming up at 2 p.m. is a news briefing. We'll be bringing you more news then. My name is Jennifer Jane Asante. Have a good afternoon.